Debt is one of the most suffocating feelings a human being can carry. It follows you everywhere. It sits on your chest when you wake up in the morning. It whispers in the back of your mind every time you check your bank account. And the worst part? Most people trying to get out of it are using strategies that don't work, or worse, strategies that are actively making it worse. Today, the Wealth Code gives you the strategy that actually works. Not theory, not motivation, the exact code. Intro. Welcome to the Wealth Code, the truth about money, the code to financial freedom. Debt is not a moral failure. It is a mathematical problem. And like all mathematical problems, it has a solution. But the solution requires a clear strategy, the right sequence, and the psychological framework to stay the course when it gets difficult. Today I am going to walk you through everything. The mindset, the methods, the order, the traps to avoid. By the end of this video, you will have a complete debt payoff system you can start using today. Let's get into it. Point 1. Face the full truth of your debt, every single number. The first step in getting out of debt is the one most people avoid the longest. Seeing the complete picture, not a rough sense of what you owe, not a vague awareness of your monthly payments. The full, exact, uncomfortable truth of every single debt you carry. Most people know they have debt. Very few people know the precise total, the exact balance on every account, the exact interest rate on every debt, the exact minimum payment required each month. And without that clarity, you cannot build a strategy. You are trying to solve a problem you have never fully defined. So here is your first assignment. Sit down with every debt you carry. Write down the name of the creditor, the current balance, the interest rate, and the minimum monthly payment. Every credit card, every personal loan, every student loan, every buy now pay later balance, every debt to a family member or friend. All of it on one page. This exercise will be uncomfortable. For many people, seeing the full number for the first time is a shock. But that shock is productive, because you cannot fight an enemy you refuse to look at. The moment you see the complete picture, the path forward becomes possible. Not easy, but possible. And possible is all you need to start. Point 2. Understand why most debt payoff attempts fail. Before we get into the strategy, we need to understand why most people who try to get out of debt fail. Not because they lack discipline, not because they don't want it badly enough, but because of 3 specific mistakes that derail even the most motivated people. Mistake 1. They pay minimums on everything and wonder why the balance never drops. Minimum payments are designed by lenders to keep you in debt as long as possible. On a credit card with a high interest rate, paying only the minimum means the vast majority of your payment goes to interest, not to reducing your actual balance. You can pay minimums for years and barely move the needle. Mistake 2. They try to pay off everything equally at the same time. Spreading small extra payments across multiple debts feels productive. It is not. It is the financial equivalent of digging 10 shallow holes instead of one deep one. You need concentration, not distribution. Mistake 3. They pay extra in some months and nothing extra in others. Inconsistency is the killer. A burst of motivation followed by months of minimal effort produces almost no progress. Debt payoff requires a system, not occasional bursts of energy. Understanding these 3 failure patterns is the foundation of building a strategy that actually works. Because avoiding what fails is the first step toward what succeeds. Point 3. The debt avalanche, the mathematically optimal method. There are 2 main debt payoff strategies that actually work. Today we are covering both, and you will choose the one that fits your psychology. The first is the debt avalanche. This is the mathematically optimal method. Here's how it works. List all your debts from highest interest rate to lowest. Pay the minimum payment on every debt every month, without exception. Then take every extra dollar you can find and throw it at the highest interest rate debt first. When that debt is eliminated, redirect everything you were paying on it, minimums plus extra, onto the next highest interest rate debt, and so on down the list. Why is this mathematically optimal? Because high interest rate debt is the most expensive debt you carry. Every month it exists, it is generating the most interest charges. Eliminating it first minimizes the total interest you pay over the life of your debt. The debt avalanche saves you the most money. On paper, it is the clear winner. But personal finance is not just mathematics. It is psychology. And for some people, the avalanche requires too much patience. Because the highest interest rate debt may not be the smallest balance. You could be attacking a large debt for a year or more before you eliminate your first account. For people who need visible wins to stay motivated, the avalanche can feel like running a marathon with no mile markers. If that is you, the snowball may be the better choice. Point 4. The debt snowball, the psychologically powerful method. The debt snowball was popularized by financial educator Dave Ramsey. And while it costs slightly more in total interest than the avalanche, for many people it is the strategy that actually gets completed. Because a strategy you finish beats a strategy you abandon. Here is how the snowball works. List all your debts from smallest balance to largest, regardless of interest rate. Pay the minimum on every debt every month. Then throw every extra dollar at the smallest balance debt first. When that debt is gone, redirect everything onto the next smallest balance. As each debt is eliminated, your monthly payment available for the next one grows. Like a snowball rolling downhill, gaining size and momentum with every rotation. The power of the snowball is psychological. You get your first win, your first completely eliminated debt, relatively quickly. That win is not just emotional. It is neurological. Your brain releases dopamine when you achieve a goal. That dopamine creates motivation for the next goal. Each eliminated debt builds momentum that carries you into the next one with more energy, not less. For people who have struggled to stay consistent with debt payoff, the snowball provides the visible progress and early wins that make consistency possible. Which method should you choose? If you are highly disciplined and motivated by numbers, avalanche. If you need early wins to stay engaged, snowball. Both work. The best one is the one you will actually finish. Point 5. Find the extra money to accelerate everything. Both the avalanche and the snowball require the same thing to work at full power. Extra money beyond your minimum payments directed at your target debt every month. The more extra money you find, the faster both methods work. So where does the extra money come from? Free sources. And you need to pursue all three simultaneously. Source 1. Cut expenses ruthlessly but temporarily. This is not forever. This is your debt payoff season. Subscriptions you don't need. Eating out that can be reduced. Entertainment spending that can be scaled back. Every naira or dollar you redirect from spending to debt repayment shortens your payoff timeline. Source 2. Increase your income. A side hustle. Overtime hours. Freelance work in your skill area. Selling things you no longer need. Even a modest income increase, $200 to $500 or naira equivalent per month, directed entirely at debt, dramatically accelerates your payoff date. Source 3. Redirect windfalls. Tax refunds, work bonuses, cash gifts, any unexpected money that arrives. Instead of spending it, put the majority of it directly onto your target debt. Windfalls are one of the most powerful accelerators in a debt payoff plan. The combination of reduced expenses, increased income, and redirected windfalls can cut your debt payoff timeline in half or better. And every month you shave off the timeline is a month of interest charges you never have to pay. Point 6. Negotiate your interest rates. Most people never try. Here is one of the most underused debt payoff tools available. Negotiating your interest rates directly with your creditors. Most people accept the interest rate on their debt as fixed and immovable. It is not. Particularly on credit cards, interest rates are frequently negotiable, especially for customers with a history of on-time payments. A single phone call to your credit card company, explaining that you are committed to paying off your balance and asking if they can reduce your interest rate, works more often than you would expect. Lenders would rather reduce your rate slightly than lose you as a customer or, worse, have you default on the debt entirely. Beyond negotiation, consider balance transfer cards. Many credit cards offer 0% interest on balance transfers for a promotional period, typically 12 to 24 months. Transferring high-interest credit card debt to a 0% balance transfer card and paying it off during the promotional period can save you hundreds or thousands in interest. Read the terms carefully. Understand the transfer fees. Know what rate kicks in after the promotional period ends. Used correctly, balance transfers are a powerful acceleration tool. And if you have multiple debts, consider whether a debt consolidation loan makes sense. A single lower interest loan replacing multiple high interest debts simplifies your payments and can reduce your total interest burden. The key in all of these options is the same. The goal is not just to restructure the debt. The goal is to pay it off faster and cheaper. Every reduction in interest rate is a direct acceleration of your freedom date. Point 7. Build the wall that stops you going back. Getting out of debt is half the battle. Staying out of debt is where most people fail. Research consistently shows that a significant percentage of people who pay off consumer debt, particularly credit card debt, accumulate similar or greater debt within a few years. Why? Because they eliminated the debt without eliminating the behaviors that created it. The debt was a symptom. The behaviors were the cause. To build the wall that keeps you debt-free, you must address both. Step 1. Build your emergency fund simultaneously. Many people accumulate consumer debt not because of lifestyle spending, but because of genuine emergencies with no financial cushion. Car repair, medical bill, job loss. Without an emergency fund, the credit card is the emergency fund. Build 3 to 6 months of living expenses in accessible savings as you pay off debt. Even a small emergency fund of $1,000 dramatically reduces your vulnerability to emergency-driven debt. Step 2. Redesign your relationship with credit. Credit cards are tools. Used correctly, they build credit scores and earn rewards. Used incorrectly, they are the most expensive debt available. Pay balances in full every month. Always. If you cannot trust yourself with a credit card, cut it up until you have rebuilt the habits. Step 3. Address the root cause. Was your debt driven by lifestyle inflation, emotional spending, lack of financial planning? Whatever created the debt, confront it directly. Build the habits, systems, and self-awareness that make accumulating consumer debt again genuinely unlikely. Getting out of debt once and returning is a painful and expensive cycle. Get out, build the wall, and never go back. Motivational close. I want to say something directly to anyone carrying debt right now. The weight you feel is real. The stress is real. The shame can feel real. The sense that you made mistakes you are still paying for, that is real. But here is what is equally real. Debt is finite. It has a number, and numbers can be reduced. Month by month, payment by payment. With the right strategy and the right consistency, there is a date in your future when your last debt payment clears. And on that day, the money that was flowing out to creditors starts flowing toward your future every single month. That day is not a fantasy. It is a mathematical certainty if you build the strategy and stick to it. The people who got out of debt are not special. They are the people who decided that the cost of staying in debt, in money, in stress, in lost opportunity, was higher than the cost of the discipline required to get out. You are watching this video because part of you has already made that decision. Honor it. Start today. List every debt. Choose your method. Find the extra money. Make the first extra payment. One decision. One action. Today. That is how the journey begins. And every journey that begins eventually ends at the destination. Yours ends at freedom. Call to action. If this gave you a clear path forward, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to The Wealth Code. Financial truth every single week. Drop a comment below. Are you using the avalanche or the snowball? And what is your debt-free target date? The code is yours. Start building.